Alright, everyone has their own unique way of conceptualizing a mix, their own method of making a piece of music glue together, whether they want their mix tall, wide or deep. There are different approaches to reach these goals. So in this tutorial, I'm going to mix a beat I made, and the object is not to show you what to do, but to open you up to the possibilities on what you can do with your mix. This tutorial will be centered around these basic mixing principles. 1. Placing audio in the stereo field. 2. The frequency element of a mix, that's EQing. 3. Adding dimension to your mix. And 4. Controlling the dynamics of a mix. Alright, here is the session, and as you can see, everything is routed into a mixer track and no insert plugins has been added. All I did was gain staging, controlling the volume of individual elements. Most of the time I mix while I make the beat, so the volume are also controlled on the channel rack. Now let's listen to the instrumental to know what to do next. Let me solo the melody only. The drums. It's sounding clean, but the bass is overpowering the groove. The lead guitar also sounds too thin. It lacks that ambient to make it deep. I'm going to create a group track for the melody, drums and effects. Let's start with the melody. With the plug, I'm going to cut the low frequencies for it not to clash with the bass. Using the short slapback preset from RC20. Cutting the low frequency with the inbuilt EQ. Let's add a little bit of wobble and listen to what it sounds like. With this plug, what I like to do is add a delay. But I'll be using the delay as a send return. If the delay is used as a send effect, turn the dry knob all the way to 0 and the wet knob 100 to only get the delay feedback. This will send our dry signal to the delay channel, and you can control the wet and dry responses from here. With this delay setting, I don't want the delay to be so obvious, so I'll change the tempo sync to milliseconds, delay feedback to 0, and gradually add the delay time until I get the desired result. Now I'm going to detune the delay. The listener will think it's two instruments playing, but it's a way of adding depth to an instrument. Before we had this, and now, I can pan the delay feedback also. I'll add reverb for it to be in the background. I'm creating a sense of space. Adding ambience to the pad. Now the electric guitar, I want to add some depth to it with a combination of modulation effect and reverb space. With reverb on electric guitar, I like to use any plate reverb. It generally sounds good on guitar. Well, you can stack up different reverb in the same effect chain. All reverb plugin has their own unique sound, so blending two or more and timing it right give it a cool effect. I think I want to add a phaser effect to give it a vibrato feel. So before we had this, alright, the problem is I don't like the low frequencies of the guitar, so I'll cut it out. For the accent, I want to delay it like a quarter note delay. With the bass, we can enhance the low harmonics with our bass. Alright, on the melody bass, we can do multi-band compressor. With this, we can solo the individual frequency band and control the dynamics. Follow that with a bass compressor. Because we are controlling the dynamics of different instruments all grouped together, you need to get the right compressor for the job, like the SSL bass compressor, DBX compressors, API compressors, among others. We can now go to the drums with this spec loop. I'll cut the low frequencies. for the kick to act as a ghost kick to cushion the main kick. I think the levels are good. Let me put a reverb on the drums. Now I don't like all the shimmers that comes on the snare, so I'll fix that later. It's too harsh. Let's do our bass on the log drums. Now let's deal with the effects and transitions. This has a sharp decay, so I'm going to add more tail to it with the reverb. And we can do a compressor on the drum bass to control the entire dynamics. Alright, the easiest way to fix the shimmers on the snare is to get the reverb and sidechain it to the snare channel. With this, the gate opens up and allows the snare to pass through and closes after the snare hit, so it cuts the reverb tail. To be honest, I couldn't figure out how to set that in FL Studio, but it's a lot more easier in Cubase. What we will do here is that I can reroute the snare only to the master bass to solve the shimmer issues. Alright, on the master bass, we can saturate the color. And then we can enhance the stereo image with Ozone 9 Imager. Even though nothing is playing, there is noise in the mix. This comes from the H delay effect I used earlier. It's designed to assimilate analog tape delays. They come with noise. You see, when I turn it off, the noise is gone. If you do not want that analog noise, just change that delay plugin. So you can start with any of the engineered preset and can adjust it from there. Well, we have some headroom to raise the beat as loud as we can until we hear no distortion. So we insert any limiter of our choice, set the ceiling, and then push the threshold. We just push the threshold until we hear no distortion. Alright, now we can compare A and B referencing. This was what we had before. If you made it this far in this video, thank you and see you in the next one.